Two men are standing in the same parking lot. One steps out of a leased luxury SUV, watch catching the light, everything about him engineered to be noticed. The other climbs into a 10-year-old Toyota that's been paid off for years. You already made a decision about which one is doing better. Almost everyone would, and almost everyone would be wrong, because the man in the Toyota has more money in the market than the other man will earn in the next decade. You just can't see it. That's the whole point. Here's what most people never learn. The wealthiest person in any room is usually the one working the hardest to not look like it. Real wealth doesn't shout. It hides. It sits quietly in accounts you'll never see, doing the only thing that actually matters, growing. So today, 7 signs that someone is quietly wealthy. The small tells that slip right past almost everyone, including you. Sign 1. The car in their driveway is boring. This is the one hiding in plain sight. According to an Experian automotive study, 61% of wealthy households earning more than $250,000 a year don't drive luxury brands at all. They drive Hondas, Toyotas, and Fords, just like everyone else. Research on actual millionaires found the median price they paid for their most recent car was about $31,000, not $80,000, not leased, bought and driven into the ground. You might be thinking, isn't that just being cheap? It isn't. Watch what the money does instead. Imagine 2 people with the same income. One buys the $70,000 status SUV, the other buys a reliable $30,000 car and quietly invests the $40,000 difference. At the stock market's historical average return of around 8% a year, that single $40,000 decision grows to roughly $274,000 over 25 years, without adding another cent. Hold it a little longer, 30 years, and the same one-time decision becomes about $402,000. Same income, same starting point. One driveway looks richer today. The other one buys freedom. And here's the part that stings. The luxury car doesn't just cost the sticker price. It costs the sticker price plus everything that money would have become. Every status purchase has a second price tag, and it's always bigger than the first. The quietly wealthy already ran that math in their head. They just didn't tell you. Sign 2, you have no idea what they actually earn. Loud money announces itself. Quiet money goes silent. The quietly wealthy almost never mention numbers, not their salary, not their returns, not the deal that just closed. They've stopped keeping score in public. And there's a reason. They measure themselves by net worth, not income, by what they keep, not what shows up in the paycheck. There's a simple test the research uses. Take your age, multiply it by your income, divide by 10. That's roughly what someone in your situation should have accumulated. The quietly wealthy are usually miles above that line. The loud ones are often miles below it, no matter how big the paycheck looks. High earners brag about the number coming in. The wealthy watch the number they get to keep. Wealth you can see is usually wealth that's leaving. Sign 3. They live in a house smaller than they could afford. The classic research on this, Thomas Stanley's study of thousands of American millionaires, found the same pattern over and over. Most of them live in modest homes, in ordinary neighborhoods, spending far less than they could. For every most expensive luxury item a millionaire buys, there are 8 non-millionaires buying that same item to look the part. Read that again. The person straining to afford the status is 8 times more likely to be the one who isn't actually rich. The logo, the address, the badge on the car, those aren't proof of wealth. Statistically, they're closer to proof of the opposite. You might be thinking, okay, but they probably started with family money. The data says the opposite. In the largest study of millionaires ever done, 10,000 of them, 79% received no inheritance at all from their parents or family. 8 out of 10 came from families at or below middle income. The most common path was quiet and unglamorous, consistently investing in a workplace retirement account and paying off a modest home. Most of them never even held a senior leadership title. They didn't inherit it. They out-boring-ed everyone around them. And if this is the first time anyone's shown you what wealth actually looks like, instead of what it pretends to look like, consider subscribing. This channel is about seeing the real machine, not the marketing that's built to distract you from it. Sign 4. Their investments are boring and automatic. The quietly wealthy don't have a hot stock story for you at dinner. They're not chasing the coin everyone's talking about. Their money goes into simple, broad, low-cost funds on autopilot every single month, and then they leave it completely alone. Because they understand the thing that does the heavy lifting isn't picking winners, it's time. Here's what that looks like. Quietly investing $500 a month at that same 8% historical average grows to roughly $745,000 over 30 years. You only put in $180,000 of your own money. The other $565,000 was built by patience while you slept. No excitement, no story, just a boring transfer repeating in the background for decades. And it doesn't even take a big number to start. Picture setting aside $300 a month, the cost of eating out a little less. Left alone at that same historical average, over 40 years that quiet habit crosses $1 million, and you only ever contributed about $144,000 of it. The rest simply grew, in silence, while everyone louder than you was busy spending. The boring portfolio is the flex. You're just not invited to see it. Sign 5. They flinch at waste, not at price. Watch closely, and you'll notice something strange. The quietly wealthy person will happily pay for quality that lasts. Good tools, a reliable roof, real value. But they physically can't stand waste. The subscription nobody uses. The upgrade that buys nothing but a logo. The interest on debt that didn't need to exist. They almost always know, roughly, where their money goes. Even at a high net worth, they run their household on a plan. As Stanley put it, running a household without a budget is like running a business with no plan, no goals, and no direction. That's the part people get backwards. A budget isn't a sign you're broke. It's one of the most common habits of people who aren't. The wealthy don't budget because money is tight. They budget because they refuse to let a single dollar leave without a reason. And that discipline is exactly how the money got big enough to look effortless. Sign 6. They're strangely unbothered by what you think. There's a calm to it. You can't bait them into a status competition. They don't need you to know about the trip, the deal, the number. Someone can pull up in a flashier car and it registers as nothing. That freedom from other people's opinions is the actual asset. Everyone spending to impress is renting a feeling by the month, and the rent never stops. You buy the car to be seen, then you need the watch to match it, then the house, then the vacation that photographs well. Each purchase raises the floor of what now feels normal, so you have to spend more just to feel the same. The quietly wealthy stepped off that treadmill a long time ago, and it's why they have room to build in the first place. The flex is just a receipt for money that's already gone. Sign 7. They have the one thing money is supposed to buy, and rarely does: time, calm. Options. The quietly wealthy person isn't lying awake over a surprise expense, because there's a deep buffer underneath them and almost no debt on top. They can walk away from a bad job, a bad deal, a bad situation without panic. That's what the whole quiet game was for. Think about your own life for a second. If your income stopped tomorrow, how many months could you breathe before panic set in? For most people, the honest answer is weeks. For the quietly wealthy, it's years. And that gap, invisible to everyone around them, is the whole difference between looking fine and actually being free. Not a nicer car, a life you don't have to flee from. You might be thinking, but doesn't earning more solve all of this? Not on its own. Plenty of high earners are quietly broke. Big income, big house, almost nothing kept. And plenty of ordinary earners are quietly wealthy. The difference was never the size of the paycheck. It was the behavior, repeated for years, where nobody was watching. And here's the uncomfortable flip side you might also be thinking. If the wealthy hide it so well, how would I ever spot them? You mostly won't, and that's the lesson. Stop reading the surface. The confidence you can see is easy to fake with a credit card. The confidence that comes from a paid-off life is quiet, and it's the only kind that lasts. None of these 7 signs is dramatic. That's exactly why they work. Wealth isn't built in one bold move you can point to later. It's built in 1,000 quiet decisions nobody ever claps for. So let's bring it home. Sign 1, the boring paid-off car. Sign 2, you never learn what they earn. Sign 3, the modest house and no inheritance behind it. Sign 4, the dull, automatic, patient portfolio. Sign 5, they hate waste, not spending. Sign 6, they don't need your approval. Sign 7, they bought calm and time instead of applause. Rich is a number someone can show you. Wealthy is a habit they'll never mention. Now here's my honest question for you, and it's an easy one to answer. Think of the wealthiest person you actually know in real life. Do they look the part, or are they hiding it in plain sight? Tell me in the comments.